Hello and welcome on 360 Sport on Trust TV. Happy Independence, Nigerians. At 62, we just have to appreciate the fact that our country has, at least for a long time now, we've been trying our best when it comes to sporting activities across the globe. We are known for some sport while we are developing in others. Welcome you on the show once again. 360 Sport is here. Let's look at those iconic moments in the world of sport. And also, we'll be looking at some sport icons that have made Nigeria very proud anywhere they are in the whole world. In different competitions, they found themselves competing, representing this great country called Nigeria. Once again, happy Independence. I have in the studio Joseph Peters. Good to have you.
Good to have you, sir. Good morning.
Happy Independence, and I can see you are wearing Nigerian jersey.
Yeah, I had to don the jersey because it's the independence of Nigeria, and we're going to celebrate it anyway. Though we don't have, but we have a lot of achievement in sport, so I'm sure that we'll look into that. But you know, we are in an era, we're in a situation whereby the country is quite not in the right state, but sport has been giving us a lot of goodies and has been kind of helping us go by, and we expect a lot of victories in the future. But like you said, we're going to look back at previous victories, and yes, we really have created impact when it comes to sport.
A lot of things actually have happened concerning Nigerian sport. We've seen the reason to celebrate sometimes. We've also looked at sometimes where sad moments happen where we didn't do well when it comes to sport. But we'll be looking at those iconic moments in the world of sport where Nigeria's relation like Million Stars are representing this great country. We'll be starting a lot of them, although not the way it's going to be as it happened by year. But let's start with Nigerian Paralympic athletes debut in 1992 Olympics. If you remember, Nigeria Paralympic team made its debut at Paralympic Games at 1992 Summer Paralympics in Barcelona. At the Games, the team claimed 3 gold medals, 2 in athletics and 1 in powerlifting. Since 1992, Nigeria has won 36 gold medals, 18 silver medals, and also 16 bronze medals, over 70 medals there. Looking at Nigerian Paralympics, well, iconic moments there. Well, let's talk about Dick Tiger. Dick Tiger right now is a Nigerian who did well when it comes to this particular when it comes to sport in Nigeria. Well, Nigerian national football team won gold at the second All-African Games. Well, the Tigers won a world title in 1962. Richard the Tiger did well for Nigeria when it comes to this particular sport called boxing. He was a boxer and represented Nigeria well when it comes to boxing, and we just can't forget about him. Dick Tiger really did well. Let's look at something about him concerning Dick Tiger now, what he did for Nigeria. Richard Dick Tiger Ihetu, that's his name, was Nigeria's first world boxing champion when he won the world middleweight title in 1962 by beating Gil Fulmer. And then in 1966, he won the world light heavyweight title by defeating Puerto Rico. Tiger died in 1971 at 42 and was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1991. While we'll be looking at that one by one, let's take a look at other ones that actually happened. Nigerian national football team won gold at the second All-African Games in 1973. It was the first of many. The Green Eagles sounded a note of warning to other African football nations that they were ready to compete against and beat the best on the continent. This is the first time the Green Eagles confined by beating Guinea 2-0 in the final at the All-African Games hosted by the country. Good one. It was a fantastic moment in the world of sports in 1973 where Nigeria won gold in All-African Games football competition there. While we're still looking at some iconic moments, let's run about 3 or 4 of them, at least 4 stories that has to do with Green Eagles, Nigerian Ande in boxing, and also not forgetting 4x4 100-meter relay quartet. To let you have a feel of how Nigerians are actually doing when it comes to sport, different angles of achievement there. Well, I still remember the German miracle where we were actually trailing and we were able to score the 4 goals. The likes of Christopher Hehen will not be forgotten in a hurry concerning what they did in that game. Not forgetting Rashidi Yekini, who actually won the African Footballer of the Year and opened the floodgate for Nigerians. After all, after him, we have Amunike, not forgetting Ikbeba, Kanu Wanko. They all won that particular award. And we also have Nigerians doing at the University Games, not forgetting the fact that they debuted at the 1992 Paralympic Games. We'll be looking at all the iconic moments in the world of sports to celebrate Nigeria at 62. Well, Joseph, when you look at Nigerian sport,
yes, sir.
Going to towing the historical lane now, you see a lot of events that actually happened that we've done so well. Although we are not looking at the sad moment now, at least let's give ourselves some happy moment. Nigeria have really achieved when it comes to sports, in different sports, be it in football, handball, volleyball. A lot of them we can't even cover all, but at least let's just unpick some. But there are some moments that are very iconic that when you look back and you're like, wow, this really happened. As you recall, 1980 Nations Cup, when the likes of Christian Chukwu, Segun Odegbami, all of them playing that competition, and they were able to win for the first time. Nigeria won that competition. That is Nations Cup, and it was a celebration that Nigeria will never forget in a hurry, because President Shagari was really so happy that really we hosted and we were able to win. Coach Otto Gloria made us proud. And you also look at those iconic stars that play in that competition, like I mentioned, Odegbami, Chukwu, Emmanuel Okala, the goalkeeper, Bess Ogedengbe, they were all there and they all did well. You will never ever forget about that kind of iconic moment. And if you look at 1994, what Super Eagles did at the USA 94, what they did at the Nations Cup, winning and also getting to the 5th position at the World Cup. And if you run round straight table tennis, you have a lot of stars who did well for Nigeria. You've moved there to athletics. In fact, that was our strength, athletics and boxing. We had a lot of boxers who did so well for Nigeria. You have Isaac Ikoria, Azurinte, David, a lot of them, they did so well. Joe Lasisi, not forgetting Joe Eriko, who did well in boxing for Nigeria. We just mentioned the likes of Ogambasi in wrestling. A lot of them, they also did well. Dick Tiger was there. In long high jump, in fact, we'll still talk about him anyway. That is Emmanuel Ifea Jr. Do you remember that exercise book? That's Olympic exercise book. A lot of people actually, they believe that maybe it's just a drawing. It wasn't a drawing. It's actually a Nigerian who did so well when it comes to high jump for the first time, winning gold for Nigeria at the Commonwealth Games. And that particular time became a hit. That particular moment where Emmanuel Ifea Jr. did so well for Nigeria. We'll be looking at all this together. Joseph, how do you feel about Nigerian 62 when it comes to sport?
When it comes to sport, I feel happy as a Nigerian. As long as it's sport, we have done a lot. When it comes to sport, we are where we are now. We have this prestige because of the previous performance of Nigerians. You were mentioning stars. Growing up, they would tell us the best goalkeeper is Emmanuel Okala. Because I was opportune to watch Peter Rufai towards the end of his career. I saw him in goal. So that time they would say Emmanuel Okala. I'll be like, who is this Emmanuel Okala? Yeah, people will be talking about him. There's this brother that I have. He always speak about that keeper. And then there's this competition. I think Saudi 89. It's like Nigeria performed well and did well, and they're always talking about Saudi 89. I've heard about the 1994 World Cup, Nations Cup winning team, and the glory in the World Cup, getting to that position and beating a certain team. I can't remember, but Nigeria performed very well. I've heard about all that. And in other sports, we have other names like Aisha, Faludi, names like that have been flying around. So, you know, when it comes to sports, there are a lot of things you can actually look back. In my own era, I would call it, I watched the Olympics and I was among the people that ran to the streets. I remember going to the street to celebrate the 1996 Olympic medal winning team, and not quite long after that, the JJ Okocha period. We have to mention his name, although he hasn't really won. He didn't really win the African footballer, but he's
He won the BBC
He
award.
won the BBC award, yeah, right. But not like people like Kanu Nwankwo, not like people like Victor Ikpeba and Rashidi Yekini that you mentioned.
And also Amonike.
Yeah, Amonike. They all got to that extent and they did really, really well. So really in sports, Nigeria have really placed the name of the country in the globe. And everybody knows Nigeria as long as it comes to sports. Football, boxing especially, people know about Anthony Joshua, but people don't really know that we've had people like the Tiger before Anthony Joshua and whoever, and this Adesanya that is in these other sports, and there are lots of them. There are just too many things to actually celebrate when it comes to sports in this country, and we can only say we are grateful for our previous legends and what they have done for this country.
We are grateful for those iconic sportsmen and women out there who did well, sacrificing their time, energy for them to put Nigeria at the world map, for the fact that they were able to win in different sports. We've been looking at the iconic moments that has to do with Nigerian sportsmen out there for what they did at the world level and also Africa, even in Nigeria. They did so well. We've been showcasing some of them. And now let's go back to looking at what they've done. Some of them, we start with the Super Eagles qualifier for the first World Cup. That was in 1994. And that particular set of Nigerians, they did so well for the fact that after 6 successful attempts to join the elite of world football, a team led by the late Stephen Keshi and coached by Clemens Wensterhoff egged out a 1-1 draw away to Algeria on October 8, 1993. At the Stade du Juliet, 1962, Algeria's Finidi George scored Nigeria's goal in the 19th minute, and the Algerians equalized through Sidia Mezeroki with 19 minutes. At that 1962 supposed to be 1992. Anyway, the Eagles head on to book their place in the 1994 World Cup that was held in of America. Big one there, and that just said that the war really stood out. Still looking at the moment, this same set of Nigerians did also proud. And now let's look at the first African football Olympic gold, also happened in 1996, although before J.J. Okocha became African horseless player, there was a time that this man was the talk of the town when he was moving from Fenerbahce of Turkey to PSG. $18 million. That was the amount. Midfield maestro J.J. Okocha, you can't forget in a hurry what he did to Oliver Kahn, and also how he did so well. Eintracht Frankfurt of Germany, he played with Bolton. He also did well with still many clubs over there in Europe. Just have to look at Okocha, that's then in 1998. Do you know he was the African costless footballer as a 1998, $18 million, 84 times, and scored 14 goals in a 4-year stint in that particular team. They are still looking at Nigeria iconic moment. Let's look at another one. Super Falcons, they were able to win the inaugural African Women Cup of Nations. They won the inaugural Women Cup of Nations in 1998. The team beat Ghana 2-0 in the final match played that's in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Good one for our ladies who went on to become the champions of Africa, as right now they've won it 9 times so far, and they are the real, if maybe you should call them the king, the king of the queens, really.
They're like the Real Madrid of football.
When it comes to Africa.
Yes, when it comes to Africa, they've won it 13 times, not just 9 times, right?
9 times. Although in total it's 11, but in the new era where they changed the format, it's actually 9. And really, we are celebrating Super Falcons winning the inaugural African Women Cup of Nations. They are still looking at the iconic moment in the world of sports. Falcons, the same Super Falcons, they reached a World Cup quarterfinal in 1999 after they were able to win the first AFCON in 1998. They are the first African women's team to have reached the quarterfinal of the FIFA Women's World Cup in 1999. Having not won a match in the previous 2 visits, the Falcons beat North Korea 2-1 to kick off their campaign before dispatching Denmark and progressing to the quarterfinal where they faced Brazil. The Brazilians went 3-0 up in 35 minutes, but the Falcons fought back to level the score. They eventually succumbed to a 104th minute golden goal as at that time, and the lady there, Messi Akide, you just can't forget about this lady. What they've done so well when it comes to Nigerian sportsmen and women, really, we have to celebrate the iconic moment and taking you back through those historic moments where Nigeria really shone like millions times in different sports. Let's talk about the Tigers. While we are looking into the historical moment, the Tigers in 2015, they won the Afro Basket Champions for the first time, thus becoming African champions for the first time after failing on several attempts. Olumide Deji captained the side. They defeated eternal rivals Angola to win the competition and were handed automatic qualification spot at the Rio Olympic Games in 2016. If you're out there watching, just to let you know the iconic moment that Nigerians have really tried when it comes to sport. In the same 2015, a Nigerian who is very vast in Scrabble, they call him Jigere Wellington. Jigere Wellington won the Scrabble World title in 2015. Nigeria Wellington Jigere won that particular title. He was able to win in Scrabble, and really he did well, and he was a adjudged world champion. He defeated Lewis McKay in 4 straight rounds to win the inaugural Westpac Championship. Jigere is a 2-time African Scrabble champion and 12-time national champion. What's a way to go? Look at this man, Joseph. A lot of people take Scrabble as just a mere fun game, but really, a Nigerian did so well that in 2015, he won the world title as a Scrabble player. Can you beat this?
I think that as long as the world is coming together, as in, this is the whole world coming together. This is not even a Nigerian thing. This is not even an African thing. This is the whole world, and players coming from different countries coming together. And Scrabble is not so popular in this country, yet he was able to go and win the title. I mean, that's great. That's really,
not
really
that
great.
Scrabble is not popular. It's popular as a fun sport, just to play at home. A lot of people don't see it as something they compete for.
Yeah, exactly.
But really, we have so many Scrabble professional players who are really done well. Just yesterday, the Federation invited 28 of them to vie for honors to qualify for that's the African competition that will be coming up in Zambia, and 10 of them will be qualifying from that 28 that have been given that chance. And you can see Jigere Wellington, as at 2015, he became world champion. Even the language that is not really our own, a Nigerian becoming a champion. We've been looking at those iconic moments in the world of sport. Let's take you back a bit. Let's talk about the same D Tiger, although we've taken that before, we're winning the 2015. Let's talk about Eyimba. If you hear Eyimba International, they've done us proud before. They've won the CAF champions. In fact, it was back-to-back. They did it in 2003 and also in 2004. Eyimba FC of Aba won Nigerian 4th Champions League crown. The CAF Champions League, this trophy eluded Nigeria for 38 years. We've been running after it. Finally, Eyimba was able to catch it with 3 traditional teams: Ranger FC in 1975, Shooting Star in 1984 and 1996. Nwanyawu National, then Spartan of Owerri, they couldn't win it. In 1988, having come very close to ending the drought, but all 3 teams were beaten in the competition's finals. Eyimba, coached by Kadri Ikana, beat Ismail of Egypt 2-1 on aggregate to end that particular course, because the Nigeria were looking at it as if it was a course, but they did well, they won it, and they also retained the title in 2004. What a way to go.
When I saw that match live, and I was really, really happy, because I know that anytime you mention the CAF Champions League, you begin to hear the names coming from Algerian clubs and Egyptian clubs and Moroccan clubs. Nigeria was not really doing good until that particular time when Eyimba won it. Eyimba stamped themselves as a true face of club football in Nigeria when they won that competition and even defended it. So I'm sure every Nigerian that loves football was very, very grateful for Eyimba and was very, very happy at that particular day, because not just the winning, the intrigue, the way the match, is two-legged, and the way the match played out, it was really, really tough. I remember that match; it was very, very tough, and they actually did us big proud by winning that competition, and that's a good one by Nigeria.
Eyimba International being celebrated there. 2 times they are champion of Africa, as they were able to turn things around after 38 years that the likes of Rangers, Shooting Stars, and also Nwanyawu National couldn't get it. They were able to cut it, and they got it. Good one there. Talking about Nigerian iconic moment in the world of sport, celebrating 62 years in the world of sport for Nigerians. Now let's look at least about 5 of different situations. It could be in competition, it could be even in jersey. If you remember, Nigerian Nigerian jerseys doing so well, let's run through another 5 iconic moments in the world of sport for Nigeria. This particular one, Nigeria remained the only African nation actually has ever risen to being ranked 5th in the whole Africa, at least when it comes to FIFA ranking. And that's that particular squad, the same 1994 squad.
I can't remember the last time an African got into the top. I don't
Top
think
10.
top 10.
Let alone 5.
Not alone 5th. And look at that squad. That's why when we were mentioning people, I felt guilty for not mentioning the name of Daniel Amokachi, Uche Ikechukwu.
Oh my goodness.
Those were names
well,
that
a lot of them. You look at Gentle Giants, Uche Ikechukwu, you have late Uche Okafor, you have Mutiwa Adepoju, the headmaster, Peter Rufai Dodomayana, Ike Shoromo was there, Rashidi Ekini is late now, Stephen Keshi also late. They all made our squad Daniel Dibula, Mokachi, you have Benny Roja. In fact, the squad, outstanding squad so far. You look at them, they were really outstanding.
I was thinking that if you bring this 11, the current 11, who among the current 11 would be able to make it to that team?
They don't come close.
There's none of them.
You know, is it a Guavon you want to talk about?
None of them. That squad of 1994 is an unbeatable squad. It's the best footballers we've had in this country, the best 11 we've ever had in this country, and I don't think the squad, the current squad, any one of them would be able to make it in that team. They won't even be on the bench. I don't. Maybe Victor Osimhen might be on the bench. Maybe Victor Osimhen might be on the bench to sub him for Rashidi Ekini, but I don't think any other one of them can actually be on the bench. I mean, this is a good team.
What a way to go. Well, taking you through the iconic moment in the world of sport there. Really, that squad of 1994, outstanding squad. Although the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, they did so well. They won good for Nigeria. And you can't forget in a hurry, Joseph Doshu, what he did there. Kanu Wanko, Wesin Oruma, Teslim to say they were all there. Emmanuel Babayaro, Celestine Babayaro. You remember all of them? They were there in that squad. They did so well, and we are still celebrating Nigerians in different sports and also some iconic moments in the world of sport. Let's run through some again as we talk about some set of ladies, a particular sport that is not too popular in Nigeria called bobsled, actually, where it's a sport that takes place on snow, but they were able to do well. Nigeria qualified for 2018 Winter Olympics and became Africa's first ever bobsled team. 3 US-based athletes, Shegun Adigun, Akoma Omelga, and Ngozi Owumere, competed in the tournament that held in Pyeongchang in South Korea, and they were able to compete in that sport. Well, no one saw that coming, and they were able to do it. In fact, even though they couldn't go too far, but they were able to register Nigeria at the world map for a sport called bobsled. He says, and at least a sport that is play on snow. Well, from there we look at another one. That's the Nigerian women national basketball team gets to World Cup quarterfinals. They were able to do well. The Tigress made it to the World Cup in Spain and buy out in the quarterfinal after losing 71-40 to USA, and eventually finished in the 8th place in the classification matches. But the lady, really, they've done so well when it comes to basketball in Africa, back to back and back again. 3 times they won the women Afro basket, and really you have to appreciate what they've done. The D Tigers, the D Tigress, especially the women, we have to always celebrate them for what they've done.
They did well getting to that stage, and you could see their opponents. It was USA. It wasn't just anybody that just edged them out anyhow. It was USA. So they must have performed really well to get to that stage. And the fact that they lost against a worthy opponent, not just anybody. And as you said, they've won it a couple of times in Africa also. We all know that when it comes to African basketball, Angola has always been a threat to anybody, being both male and female. But in this case, they won it. The Tigers have been the ones who have actually done better when it comes to female basketball, and they were able to make it to that stage in the World Cup. It's a good thing, and it's part of the good history about our sports that we are celebrating, and it's great. It's actually great.
We have to celebrate our own. Do you still remember that Nigerian team? They actually won all medal categories at the Olympic Games. We've won gold, we've won silver, we've also won bronze. That's the next story we're looking at. Nigeria is the first African country to win the 3 medals in the football event at the Olympics. The team won gold in 1996, silver in 2008, and bronze in 2016. Good one there, winning all the medals that has to do with football at the Olympics. Well, we just have to remember 1990s Atlanta. That's the picture of that particular outstanding squad there. Wonderful team who did so well. And in 2008 rather, we got silver with the likes of Mikel Obi. And 2016, we actually got bronze. Talking about Nigerian iconic moment, let's look at another one that has to do with Carter Milas. Hit gold despite silver finish in 2000 Olympics. The likes of late Sunday Bada, Jude Monye, Clement Chukwu, and Nigerian Bank did not win their final, but 12 years later, after one of the American runners was disqualified following a failed dope test, they got gold, and really it was the race of their life at the 2000 Sydney Olympics in Australia, where the four of them ran the race of their life, especially Nigerian Bank, who took the last pace of that particular race. Still looking at Nigerians at the iconic moment. Well, let's quickly go through some again, about 5 as we roll it for you. Well, we've been looking at a lot of activities there. Welcome you back on the show, 360 Sport, where we are looking at the iconic moments of Nigerians in the world of sport. Some of them have really done us so proud in different sports they find themselves. Well, we have to look at this because this is Independence Day, 62 years, it's not a joke. And really, sport unites all, as they say. And whenever sports comes up in Nigeria in different locations, we are always one country. And we have to appreciate the fact that the sportsmen out there, they've really made us proud. They've really done so well, trying their best to make sure they are able to either win trophies or medals.
It's a good thing that Nigeria have come so far. And in sports, we have also come so far. Because, like I said before, we've put our name on the mark. We've marked our name on the globe. Nigeria is known as long as it comes to sport. It's not just politics and in sport. When it comes to sport, Nigeria is really widely known. A lot of things, maybe there are a lot of other things that we may not have been known, but when it comes to any kind of sport, you hear something about a Nigerian doing something somewhere. Maybe those Nigerians may not even have grown up in their country, but as long as they are out there, you hear them. And when they make, one thing I like about when they make their mark, when they do something, they get to represent. They identify themselves as Nigerians. They don't just abandon their name and their heritage. So I'm really, really happy concerning that. But then another thing that I tend to observe anytime it's the independence when it comes to sport, the fact that we've always wanted to be at a particular level. Like, for example, in football, we want to get past the quarterfinal. I'm wondering which independence are we going to sit and celebrate that? I'm really looking forward to that independence that we're going to look back and say, wow, this year we made it to the semi-final of the World Cup or even the final of the World Cup. I'll be really happy.
You wait to see that maybe to be happening. We've been talking concerning the iconic moments of Nigerian sport. I'll be giving you all those moments that make us laugh and we celebrate. Well, right now, let's go out there to listen to all Nigerians, at least two of them. A lot of Nigerians, they complain or they just want to appreciate the fact that Nigeria, they've done when it comes to sport. Let's listen to these Nigerians for what they feel concerning Nigerian sport in 62 years.
The sector went up and somehow went down. Are you with me? In the sense that I know that before the First Republic, like we all know, in those days, sports was like part of everybody's activity. If you hear that any of those local players like Rangers or ICC is playing, the whole town is shut down. But today, somehow or the other, the sports went international, where everybody is now selling players abroad instead of thinking about how to develop the sports in country. If you develop the sports in country, it's going to provide a whole lot of employment, gainful employment, both for growing people and even for adults. It cut across all nations. So I will greatly say that pre-independence, after independence and the First Republic, when we have the like of President Shehu Shagari and the rest of them, and then after the military era, the sports thing declined in Nigeria. That is my own. But I'm sure that with the evolution of trends of things going on right now, we don't have any choice other than the fact that time and tide does not wait for anybody. So that is actually catching up, and that's why you see still looks like the sports is growing in Nigeria. So, but I think that where we are today, relatively, will have gone much better.
We had games that were very, very active when the colonial masters were around. It could be football, a bit of athletics, of course cricket, which was first played at Hope Wardell College, Calabar, and also football, all the areas where the colonial masters were. So there was this presence of the sports they introduced here. So after independence, of course, the people in the colonies who were like striving for independence so continued. And over the years, I think even before we had what's his name, a Major Ifeanyi Fejuna, who took a gold medal in Commonwealth Games, I think in '56 thereabout. So most of these things were kind of encouraged by the colonial masters. So when we gained independence, it continued. So moving on, and in the 90s, we were one of the powerhouses of athletics in the world. So when US is taking first, it's Nigeria and Jamaica. We're talking about track and field, and also combat sports like boxing, then football. But somewhere along the line, you know, bureaucratic redneck came in. Bottleneck came in and holding back of funds, coaches not going for training, and kind of dampened the spirit of most of our players. I think so. It's been up and down, so to say.
To have you back, good one there. At least we've been talking about Nigerian stars out there for what they've done when it comes to sport. Well, some Nigeria actually showed their mindset concerning Nigeria at 62. We've been looking at the iconic moment. Now let's run through some icons who really they've done so well. When you hear about them, you think, really, are they really human beings or just fairy tales? Well, one of them, Tunda, the one they call Teslimtunda Balogun. A lot of fairy tales concerning this man, but really, he did well for Nigeria. He played good football, and a lot of Nigerians couldn't just, they will continue to talk about him because of the fierce way his shot, as they described it, was so hot that he actually blew open the stomach of one of the goalkeepers. Well, let's talk about Teslim Balogun now. Looking at what he achieved, that's the first icon we are looking at right now. Teslim Balogun football, perhaps the most well-known Nigerian footballer of all time since the late 1940s. It is said that his shot was so thunderous, it ripped open the stomach of a goalkeeper who stood in his way. Well, this man, Balogun, won Nigerian Challenge Cup 5 times in 7 finals, was the first player to score a hat-trick in the competition, and was a member of Nigerian UK tourists in 1949, the precursor of the team which became known as the Red Devils, Nigeria's national team. They were later renamed the Green Eagles. After that UK tour, Balogun returned to England, where he signed for Peterborough, becoming the first Nigerian. Look at that. The first Nigerian to sign a professional football contract abroad, but he did not play for them and later signed for QPR, that's Queen Park Rangers, scoring 3 goals in 13 appearances. On retirement, he earned his badges and became the first African to qualify as a professional coach, leading Nigeria's team to the 1968 Olympic Games. Teslim Balogun Stadium in Lagos is named after him. What a way to go.
That's a way. That's an iconic person they are talking about. Winning, and not just winning, securing a professional contract abroad, then goes there, performs, and comes back and becomes the coach and gets the honor of a stadium being named after him. I remember the first time I was in that stadium, I was really happy. That was the only stadium, by the way, I've been in Lagos, Teslim Balogun Stadium, and when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is a superstar. Somebody was named after, as in this is a stadium somebody was named after. I was really happy. And that name, the fact that his shot, they always call it the Thunder. He must have had the kind of, I don't know what kind of shot is that, but it must have been a very, very, very great shooter when it comes to football.
A big one there, Teslimtunda Balogun, the hero of Nigerian football. A lot of people follow the fable that follow this man, but really, he was a man. And we're talking about him. And let's look at another Nigerian icon, Emmanuel Ifeajuna. A guy who did so well, and when you look at the exercise book, you remember this particular picture. A lot of people will be wondering, seriously, Ifeajuna is a man on your 1980s and 1990 exercise book, and is someone you might have thought is another work of art or graphic representation, but for real time, the first time Emmanuel Ifeajuna appeared before a crowd of thousands, he did something no African has ever done. He won a gold medal at an international sporting event in high jump. That was the Commonwealth Games in 1954. At that time, after he won gold, with if you look deeply, you see that one of the is having a shooting one, and the other one is not having.
Yeah.
He competed with just one of the hand. Yes, not hand, the foot now. Okay, and you have. Him winning, after winning gold, Nigerian create world sensation. That was the headline of West African pilot in 1954 at the Empire and Commonwealth Games in Vancouver, Canada. It was a pride not just of Nigeria, but of Africa. Talking about Emmanuel Ifeajuna, the man at the back of your exercise book. If I take you back 1980, 1990, when you look at that particular drawing, really, it happened. And Ifeajuna did well for Nigeria in that sport called high jump, and we have to celebrate him today. 1954 Empire and Commonwealth Games in Vancouver, Canada. Among the stars, that did Nigeria proud there. Well, we just have to look at all this. Well, our time is running, but let's look at another one who did well for Nigeria. Najimayugu, a boxer who did well for Nigeria when it comes to 1964 now. Let's look at Najimayugu now as we talk about all these stars that have done well concerning Nigeria. A retired Nigerian boxer who won bronze medal in the men's light middleweight category at the 1964 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. He was Nigerian first Olympic medalist. You know, while Ifeanyi was winning at the Commonwealth Games, gold medal, he did well for Nigeria at the 1964 Summer Olympics, and he was able to win bronze in boxing. Najimayugu.
Looking at the whole rundown we've been having today, one thing that has been revealed to me now is that, like I said, in boxing, Nigerians have really been doing
our strength.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Nigerians have been doing a lot. I didn't know there are some people that were mentioned there that I never knew existed.
Yeah,
but
really.
But you could see that it's not just today it started. It didn't just start yesterday. It has been happening, and it's an area where we can actually develop further. Then, if this is the case, a lot have been won going back. Then moving forward, I'm sure we'll do better.
While we're still looking at this icon who has done well for Nigeria, we're now done with Najimayugu. Now let's look at another star, Anthony Ade. Anthony Ade competed for Nigeria. He did well, although he died in 2010. Nigerian boxer competed in the men's featherweight event at 1964 Summer Olympics. He won gold medal in the lightweight event at 1966 Commonwealth Games in Kingston, Jamaica. At 1964 Summer Olympics, he defeated Badawi El Bedewi of Egypt before losing to Titun of Burma. Well, good one for Anthony Ade, 1945 to 2010. And we quickly have to look at least two more before we wrap it up. Hogan Bassi, a Nigerian star when it comes to boxing, born Okon Asuko Bassi on the banks of Cross River, Creektown in Calabar. He became naturalized British when he moved to the UK, where he spent most of his life in Liverpool. He took the name Kid Bassi when he returned professionally as a boxer. After 14 contests in Nigeria, Bassi went to Liverpool in 1952. After winning the Empire Featherweight Championship, he won the world crown by defeating French Algerian Sherif Hamia in Paris in 1957. Lost the title to US fighter David Moore on 18 March 1959. At that same year, he was awarded the MBE following his world title win and went on to become a coach in Nigeria, who awarded him the country's highest honor in 1973. He died on 26 January 1998 at his home in Apapa, Lagos. Well, let's look at one more before we wrap it up. Taking you back to Nigeria historic moment. It has to do with another Nigerian star, Joe Orewa. Joe Orewa did so well. He was born in 1960. He's a Nigerian boxer. He competed at the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles in the bantamweight class. He won a gold medal at the 1982 Commonwealth Games in Brisbane. We just have to look at this. If not for time, we can go on and on and on. A lot of Nigerian stars there. They've done so well. I'll be giving you more of this, but we just have to go now. Taking you back through those iconic moments in the world of sport with Joseph Peter. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Well, if you are in Nigeria, just have to be proud of our sportsmen. They've really done well. I am Adeniyi Ajishafe. Happy Independence and have a splendid weekend. Thanks for watching.